Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to end up our net worth update for the month of December and how we ended up in 2025. Although I must say the number was at the end of the day positive, I still am very fixated on the mistakes that I made throughout the year, and I'll be showing a screenshot of Fidelity account. But let's start with it. Here's a screenshot of November and December. I'll do a breakdown on what all those numbers mean. So before you guys kind of panic, I'll make sure that I go over them, okay? So the very first line, as I mentioned, that is our savings. That went from 13,188 to 15,045. I should say it wouldn't be savings. It's more like what's fluid, in our account, meaning that's what pays our bills, that's what we're gonna go ahead and take things off from and whatnot. So just want to show it up again. That's the first line. So you could say we save about $1,000 and some change from last month, so that's a pretty decent growth. The next one is a rainy fund. That is actually what it means, a rainy fund. I ended up taking 3,000 and putting it into the checking, so maybe that's where the additional $1,000 came from. But we're gonna be now keeping it at 10,000. That's gonna be the new benchmark for all of 2026. 2026 is gonna be the year of investing. I'm gonna be pushing hard these next 2-3 months to invest because there are some lifestyle changes that will be taking place halfway through the year, and I want to make sure that I'm at least prepared for it as much as possible. The third line is the Roth. The Roth, I've only put like $200, if that, not too much. But the stock market in December had a little bit of a rally, the Santa Claus rally at the end, but for the most part it was pretty negative. So that went up to 25,124 with 93 cents. So not a major change. Now, as you guys can see, the next line is the actual taxable account. It actually went down in my book because it went from 28,313 to 373, but we put a lot more money than that. We put about maybe like $800. Like it substantially went down. It should have gone higher, but it is what it is. You just can't control it. The last one is crypto. Binance and crypto.com. It went from 3,551 to 3,469. So again, seeing very slow growth on the crypto. I do suspect that next year crypto is going to be the one catalyst that kind of just shoots up. As you guys know, I'm saving in Bitcoin for my children, and I did have a position in Solana. I have been really contemplating on moving it towards Bitcoin. Bitcoin will not have the amazing push that Solana could have, but I think is a little bit more predictable, if that makes sense, or is just more safe. But I don't know. I'm still kind of playing with that idea. I definitely do want to eliminate some of my crypto positions in the year of 2026. I'm gonna be waiting for a little bit of a rally because right now I'm really under. And once they're on the positive, I will be just rotating that money towards Bitcoin. I understand I'll be going at Bitcoin a little bit higher, but again, the volatility with Bitcoin is, believe it or not, is less than the other ones. Right now, my Ondo position, I'm down, 80%, 85%. It's horrendous. So, with Bitcoin, it went down 30-40%. Everything else does double. And so the idea is that if Bitcoin goes up 20%, then everything else goes double, right? But we'll see. That's kind of the position. So as we progress with our net worth, our savings, rainy fund, Fidelity, Binance crypto, have about maybe $2,000 in cash, nothing crazy. That brings us to a total of $82,018.31, which is a decrease from November, which was $83,134.61. The biggest change was the stock market. The stock market, again, on the second to last line, it looks like it's just the same amount, but we actually put about $700 to $800 more. So we did not pick winners. I'll say that. And like I said, I'll show you guys the Fidelity one more time, just because there was a lot of mistakes that I made this year. I told you guys in a previous video that I'm going to be a little bit more diligent when it comes to some of my positions. As you can see, I only have three accounts are on the positive. Now, one of them is AMD, it's on the negative. But for the most part, I have complete confident that the positions will go up next year. It's just a matter of being diligent. If you guys are wondering what am I investing in and why am I so in the red, the positive ones have been mostly tech. So Micron, AMD, Celestica, those have been doing very, very well. But I just started putting money into those since August, so not too long ago. The previous one is the Binance, not the Binance, sorry, the Bitcoin, like Bitcoin treasury companies. And the reason why my thought was I could put it into Bitcoin. I do believe in Bitcoin. I think it's a great asset class, even though people may not see it yet. I do believe that it will continue. I do believe I'm 30 years old, so I do believe that um, in my life, we'll see $1 million Bitcoin. It just the way the money printer continues to go. Just the month of December, I believe the government printed about 40 billion more, if I'm not mistaken. We also gave some more money to foreign identities for whatever reason, and so there's going to be more and more money. In the month of May, we're going to have a new federal chairman, most likely going to be aligning himself with the administration's view of lowering the interest rates, and so that's going to pilot even more money coming into the system. So that's my belief, that if I could have put it into the to the Bitcoin directly, but if I can double triple my money in the Bitcoin treasuries, obviously that's not working out. However, one of the pluses that one of the companies that I'm invested in, so may call it gambling, but 21 Capital with I'm blanking on his name. I shouldn't blank on his name. Let me look him up. Jack. Sorry, let me. I know it's Mueller. Mahlers. I can't pronounce his last name. Sorry, Mahlers. I've been watching his Monday Bags something podcast, and he makes a lot of sense. I do think he's a good speaker. I do believe that he's going to be able to start bringing some products into the market that's going to give him some yield, give him some profit, and some confidence to the stakeholders and to everybody else. So when it's time for them to review numbers and to share profit losses statements, they're going to be able to attain more people to come in and invest into 21 Capital. So that's one. I'm not into strategy. Again, I continue to quote unquote do my homework, which is wrong. Trying to double, triple the money more. Obviously, it has a bigger decline. And so hence why I'm in this predicament. Now, some people may say, well, do you still have $80,000 saved in general, and I that's I'm something I'm happy about, but I'm also not fully content with that, and I need to make sure that I do a much better job, because yes, on paper it sounds great that we have 80,000, but honestly they should really be like 115, 120. There's really no reason why we can't do better decisions next year. So I'm still trying to figure out my playbook for next year. My original thought was, how about start dollar cost averaging to the few positions that are closer to being on the positive, so that way I can see more green on my spreadsheet. I think that's what I want to do. Other people, I even asked ChatGPT. They say continue pouring into your winners. I think that would be the smart thing to do, just to keep maintaining saving the money. But I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys have to say now. Some of the last bets that I've put my money into, again, you can call it speculating or gambling, is penny stocks. And one of them is in quantum computing, while the other one is going to be AI related when it comes to like the pick and shovels, almost like Micron, but obviously at a fraction of the market cap. So I'm looking forward to 2026. I think January is going to see still a little bit of a drawdown on the market. Historically, I check on ChatGPT. The stock market does not do really well on January, which, believe it or not, my goal this year is to continue to invest on red days. The more red, the more I'm going to be excited about, because I'm trying to just balance everything out. Like I said, I don't know where we're gonna end up next December, but I want to make sure that number one, the number's higher than 80,000, just because naturally we're investing more, right? Number two, obviously we're trying to push for winners. Hopefully, these Bitcoin treasury companies start getting their act together, and they start pushing for the positive. Now we're going into a bear market. Some say for Bitcoin, some say it's gonna have a violent push up. I don't know, but I knew at the time that those were speculations. I mean, really, Bitcoin treasury companies, aside from 21 Capital, they don't have any type of business model that I'm aware of. Right? It's just speculation. So. Making sure that we don't make those mistakes. Micron, they had an amazing last quarter. They are projecting even more sales. I'm looking forward to that, and I think that's going to be one of the winners this next year, aside from AMD. I'm just looking forward to that. So we're definitely going to keep investing. I want to make sure that we reach at least 100,000 for next year. The Roth IRA, that's a point of contact that I as much as I want to be able to put more, I'm having to, have to balance it out and make sure that we have liquid money that I can take out. Like I said, things are happening in my life where I do want to make sure that we don't disrupt compound as much as possible, but at the same time, if I put in the Roth IRA, it to me is more like it's locked in. I'm not touching it until I'm 60, and I don't want to have that. So I'm thinking about $250 monthly is going to go towards the Roth IRA, and make sure that those don't get changed until that way everything else goes into the taxable brokerage account. Feeding into my winners, but it's starting to dollar cost average to my losers. So that way, hopefully by the end of, let's say, the next 3 months, at the first quarter, hopefully we have way more greens than the ones that I've shown. Now, the big thing is one of the stocks that you can say, kind of FOMO into is it's more of minerals. So let me see. My apologies. I ended up putting. There you go. So as you can see, one of them is more in the minerals. And that's supposed to go through February. So I'm hoping that in February it gets a big push, and then that gets us back into the positive. And then after that, I'm going to be able to notice, what we can. I am going to be saving some money from some other bills that I eliminated, and that's going to be starting this next month. I'm going to continue to now invest that entire money so I can continue as if, I had the same bill. But let me know how you guys enjoyed the network update. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. And like I said, hopefully you guys like the football club game. It's not the best, but it is what it is.